And welcome back to Great College Rivalries. We are in Athens, Georgia. I'm Dan Debenham, and as you can see, the University of Georgia is leading the University of Alabama after competition in the vault and in the bars. They are now on the beam and on the floor exercises, and as we have discussed earlier, there is some real differences between the two coaches, Sarah Patterson for the University of Alabama and Suzanne Jacqueline for the University of Georgia. Maybe you can see the differences in what they had to say before this meet. Earlier in the locker room, Suzanne Jacqueline said to her team, "We do this for one reason and for one reason only, and that is to win. Don't forget it." On the other side, Sarah Patterson says, "Listen, I'll compare my winning percentage with anybody, but we win with class and with style." There are differences, as we found out earlier this week.
Just thinking about it makes my stomach a little hot and bothered. And I guess in the beginning, when we first competed against them, maybe the first 2 years, it was more like a rivalry, but it wasn't as intense, and it wasn't as brutal now. You know what I mean? I feel like we're playing football.
To me, it reminds me of Alabama and Auburn in football.
It's the rivalry, you know, that follows it now. It's not just going to be a good meet. It's like, it's going to be a deadly meet, you know, kind of thing.
Well, both Georgia and Alabama have all the credentials to make up your typical great college rivalry. I mean, both schools are national powers. Both teams compete in front of huge, loyal, partisan crowds. And both squads have very gifted, competitive athletes. Most fans will tell you that the rivalry stems from the different philosophies taught by the two coaches, and that the athletes themselves are reflections of them.
I'm flamboyant. I like to go for the big stuff.
I feel that maybe I'm a little more calm of a person. My style is maybe a little bit more subtle.
We do exciting gymnastics, you know, where they do smart gymnastics and use the rule book. I rarely even open up the rule book. You know, I know what I like, I know what the fans like, I know what gets me going, and I know what gets the team going and fans going, and we like to push the limits in terms of difficulty.
I think you can compare their success. I think you can compare their crowds. But I think when it comes down to it, there's a different style in each program. And I think an athlete has to choose what they want for themselves.
I think we try to be really close, and I think that has a lot to do with it. And the girls that come here want a family-oriented team, and that's the way we try to be.
I think they know that they're going to be in an environment that's conducive to a family atmosphere.
There's different ways to define family.
You have your reserved family and your other family.
Our team is very outgoing. A lot of us are outspoken.
I don't think we have to go out and, you know, tell everybody that we are confident. I think when we go out there, it's going to show.
We don't conform.
They know that I'm going to be involved in their lives.
Some families are smothering.
And if they want to walk out the door at 5 o'clock and leave the gym behind them and never talk to their coaches, this is not the place to come.
They don't need to be reined in. They need to make decisions. They need to make mistakes. They need to pay the price for their choices. I'm definitely not a chaperone.
Here, I think we have a lot of style, a lot of class.
How are they defining class?
I think it shows in our performance.
Georgia is more real, more true. You're going to see what we think. You're going to see what we feel.
I would like for our ladies to represent a certain style, class, and dignity all their own.
And she puts all her class and style in the camera, in the face of everybody. But, you know, behind closed doors, they're different. And that's, I think, the problem.
I think you can tell the difference.
Now, any rivalry has a few incidents that tends to stir things up just a bit. That's the case between these two schools as well. It happened last year just before the two teams met in one of their meets, and it involved Georgia wannabes. Not these young ladies working out here on the campus of the University of Georgia. Rather, the problem was with the young ladies working out back in Tuscaloosa.
Every day we tried to act like the team that we were competing against just to get us more psyched up. So each day we did a different team. And we did Georgia one day.
What we heard was that they were wearing our leotards and wearing G's on the leotards before they came to our meet.
It fired us up, definitely. Made us want to beat them even more.
Then they asked us to comment about it, and I said, well, I guess they just want to be like Georgia, and Georgia wannabes.
You know, if someone said, or any team says anything bad against you, you're going to want to go out there and beat them even more.
The bottom line is that both styles of coaching work. The styles just happen to work better for some than others.
Another obvious difference between these two coaches is that when we talked to Suzanne Jacqueline, she basically admitted, listen, I don't care for Sarah Patterson, but I do respect her. That is the differences between these two, although Sarah Patterson certainly also respects Suzanne Jacqueline's success on the gymnastics floor. Who will win this meet? Who knows? You'll have to stay tuned, and stay tuned in the future as our great college rivalries continues. And for a sneak preview, we go to John Neighbor.
ESPN2's coverage of heart-stopping college rivalries continues when perennial volleyball powers UCLA and USC hit the court. The famous Crosstown Showdown takes place tomorrow at noon Eastern Time. The most anticipated wrestling match of any season is the intrastate battle between Iowa and Iowa State. You can see this heated rivalry Sunday night. Welcome back to more gymnastics. John Neighbor and Maura Driscoll as we're getting ready to watch the beam and floor competition. As you see, the scoreboard after 2 rotations shows that the University of Georgia Bulldogs have a 3/4 point advantage. If you're worried about Meredith Willard or Agina Simpkins, they will not be competing today because of injuries sustained earlier in the season. Now Alabama's opportunity comes up on the floor. Shea Murphy, a freshman who's 5 feet 2 inches tall out of Canton, Michigan, will be performing. 4-year high school honor roll student.
And the student athlete is what is important at the University of Alabama. Coach Sarah Patterson really stresses that. In her first tumbling pass, a front through to a double tuck. Very nicely done. I don't think she got an out-of-bounds deduction there. If her foot were to go out of bounds, it would be a 1/10 deduction.
Coach Patterson on the side of the floor, clapping and talking to her during her routine.
Shea is just a freshman, but she's a very dynamic floor worker. And that's what this event is all about. Another double back, which is a D move. In gymnastics, you need to do certain bonus skills to raise the value of your routine to make it worth a 10.0. The gymnasts start out with a 9.6. A D move is worth 1/10 of bonus, and an E move is worth 2/10 of bonus. So it's up to them to optimally raise their value to a 10.0. Alabama has a very young team with 4 freshmen, and here's a look at one of them getting ready for her last pass. A double full, a little low on the landing. She kind of had to munch her legs a little, but it's tough to do that third tumbling pass. You're a little out of breath. Expression and personality through your dance and gymnastics is what this floor exercise event is all about.
Shea Murphy's routine comes to a close as her coach comes to talk to her.
This is her final tumbling run. It's a double twist. It's 1 flip backwards with 2 twists. You can see she's a little bit tired, and on the landing, her knees kind of bend. She separates her legs a little, but she recovered well from that.
Lori Strong is next up on the beam, the event where her teammate slipped on the last performance. Leah Brown earned a 9.3 on her beam routine. Here comes Lori. She also has a little Lori Hop named after her.
She sure does, and I'll point it out. It was named after her. Again, if you do a skill, if you're the first to do a skill in international competition, World Championships or Olympics, it goes in the code of points, which is the Gymnastics Bible. And this is a 1-arm handstand, and now she's going to pirouette doing a hop. There it is. That's called the Lori Hop. Lori Strong has competed in more international competitions than any other gymnast in history. And if there's any event that international experience or experience in general can help you, it is right here on the balance beam, the great equalizer in college gymnastics. Here's her big flight series. Back handspring, layout, step out, right on. Let her shoulder get out of line. You can see how she didn't want that to happen. She came back, right back to her positioning. She's so pretty to watch in this event. Her confidence is very apparent. Back handspring, quarter turn. Very interesting element down on the balance beam, which is also a requirement. Every move is deliberate and exact. There is no margin of error on the balance beam, and she's not letting anything go. The SEC conference is her dismount here. A double full, a very nice routine for Lori Strong. another look, a closer look, at the Lori Hop, a move that she originated and that was named after her. The way she gets into it is she does a press handstand and then incredible balance and strength here, one-arm handstand, and then she'll hop around in a pirouette, and that's called the Lori Hop.
Now we go to the floor where Stephanie Woods, career high of 9.875 on this event. Sophomore out of Austin, Texas. Was fourth in the all-around America's Best Performer at the 1993 World University Games.
Stephanie is such a pretty gymnast to watch. She tied for 7th on the floor at the Central Regionals. Notice her flexibility and her extension and amplitude. In terms of artistic impression, it really is what gymnastics is all about. Oh, low on the double tuck there. She did a whip through to a double tuck. That could be up to 3/10 deduction. In my opinion, the floor exercise really epitomizes the true call of the gymnast. On one hand, you need to be explosive and powerful in your tumbling, and on the other hand, you have to be graceful and elegant and beautiful, and kind of a lot to ask of one person, wouldn't you think?
You bet. Stephanie's entire team is on the edge of the floor, clapping and moving to the music.
And that is so necessary when you're competing at the Georgia Coliseum. It's tough to get used to this crowd, but for Alabama, it's an incredible tune-up because this is where the national championships will be held in April. And her second tumbling pass, a full. That's kind of a weak tumbling pass for a middle run. It's just a B, which is not a lot of difficulty. Again, the difference in the two teams is apparent on this event specifically because Georgia goes for big, powerful tumbling that probably is worth the same, but it's bigger and more impressive in terms of difficulty. Nice job for Stephanie. She actually ended with a full twist, which is a B.
For the University of Georgia, up next on the beam, Kim Arnold.
This is her first tumbling run. A whip back through to a double tuck. You could see she didn't get a good grab of her knees, wasn't able to rotate well enough around, and she had to put her knees down.
Let's recap the scores. Shea Murphy, a 9.7, good score on the floor. Lori Strong, a 9.75 with the hop, and that score will count. And Stephanie Woods on the floor, a 9.6, so far a low score for her team. We'll be back with more as competition continues from this great college rivalry. Welcome back to the Georgia Bulldog Coliseum in Athens, Georgia for more of this great college rivalry. Now our attention goes over to the floor exercise where Kim Kelly is performing for the Crimson Tide. She was placed on the Olympic team in 1992, but then taken off when an injured athlete was put on in her place.
Actually, 2 injured athletes, John, and it was an extremely controversial move. It was also one of the biggest stories in Barcelona.
I talked to her coach, and he said she doesn't blame the sport, but she still holds a grudge against those coaches who put her off the team.
I think it would be hard not to. She opened up with a whip back through to a double pike. Very good. She's very powerful and dynamic on this event. And there's a double full to an immediate punch front. Very difficult to do because you're changing directions immediately. On this event, Kim was the Central Regional Floor Champion, and she finished 2nd at the NCAA Championships. This is an example of her having fun with the sport, which is something that was taken out of it when she had that unfortunate thing happen with the Olympic trials. She has said that she's had more fun and would take back all of her years on the national team for her years at Alabama Gymnastics.
High praise indeed.
You can see it in her smile. And Kim finishes out with a full. Again, this is kind of weak tumbling. Stephanie Woods also finished with a full. It's only a B move. Just to get the requirements, Alabama is really sticking to clean and reliable gymnastics. Right here, we'll take a look at her second tumbling run. It was a double full, which is 1 flip backwards, 2 twists, and she immediately changes directions and does a front flip, and that's where they get combination bonus on this event.
Kim Arnold is next up for Georgia on the beam.
Kim is regarded as the nation's #1 recruit, and lucky for Georgia, she's now a Lady Bulldog.
Should be noted also, Georgia has recruited 4 top high schoolers for next year's squad. So this might be the beginning of a dynasty.
They have an incredible recruiting class coming in. But watch Kim Arnold on this event. This is her haven. She does 3 layouts in a row, the first to ever perform it in collegiate competition. There's 1 and 2. She only went for 2. She must have felt a little bit off. The team really needs her to stay on. And that was probably a smart decision, but we'll see how Suzanne Yocklin feels about that, because she's a risk taker.
That's true. Congratulations, she got a 10, but she should have done better.
Coach Yocklin thinks that Kim will rewrite the Georgia record books on this event. There's a punch front, the same skill we saw Leah Brown do, where she missed her foot, and Kim Arnold was able to hold on. Watch this. It's another tumbling pass, round-up back handspring, layout step out, right on the money. Just incredible. When I talk about tumbling on something, it looks like it's 4 feet instead of 4 inches. This is a classic example. She just keeps doing more difficult skills. She really doesn't even need to have a 10-0 routine. She just keeps packing it in with difficulty.
Kim Arnold won a gold medal at the 1988 Pan American Games when the U.S. team won there.
See, she checked where the end of the beam was, because she's also going to do a big dismount, a double back in the pike position, and she nails the dismount, and they are happy about that.
Yocklin took to the air with a little victory hop on that dismount.
Very exciting. This is a back handspring, layout, step out, more than enough in terms of requirements. She knows how to do 3 layouts, though. Now watch this dismount. This is what seals it for her. A round off, and she does 2 flips backwards in a pike position, the only one you'll see in the meet. She bends her knees a little, but what a great job.
Final performance over on the floor, Merritt Booth.
Merritt Booth, of course, is just a freshman on this young Alabama team. She recently won floor exercise at the LSU meet, where Alabama had a record-breaking 196.70 team score. And she opens with a double tuck. That's a D move. There are a lot of inconsistencies in tumbling that I'd like to point out. One is a double tuck is worth a D, and another skill called the full twisting double back is also worth a D. And they really are 2 different skills. The full in is so much more difficult. But if you can play it safe and still have the same skill value, why not, I guess? Second tumbling pass is a front full to an immediate punch front. Some decent bonus there. Front tumbling is worth a lot, according to the new code of points.
Seems the Alabama floor routines are very theatrical. A lot of dance. Not quite the same tumbling styles that we might see in Georgia.
I think it's really a matter of stressing different things. The artistic impression is what they're concerned with, and the big, powerful gymnastics is what Georgia is concerned with. That's called a Rudy, and that is an E move. It doesn't look like a high-flying, impressive tumbling pass, but it fulfills the requirements more than enough. A good job, but this is such an event that you can really see the difference in styles between Georgia and Alabama. And this is her last tumbling pass. She ends with an E. It's called a Rudy, and it's 1.5 twists, flipping forward in a completely straight position. It was nicely done as well.
So let's recap the scores during this segment. After the short break, we'll be back with more of this great college rivalry.
Can your